Hi, Interact community. My name is Gabrielle, and I'm tuning in from my home. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about creating a schedule and a routine for those of you that have children at home right now, especially since most of the schools are closed and many people are either off from work or working from home. So I'm going to share why it can be helpful and important to create some sort of schedule or routine for your children, and also how to go about doing that. So as mentioned in one of our other YouTube videos on our site, creating some sort of structure or routine can both help reduce your child's anxiety and your own anxiety. It can be calming and also stress reducing for both of you. Generally, it provides some sort of expectation for you and your child on what to do during this time, especially since a lot of stuff is unknown right now, like the period of time that this may last. So creating some sort of structure routine can provide some expectation around that. It also gives some sense of normalcy, especially since many of us have daily routines with our children. Kind of creating this and putting this in place creates some sort of normalcy, and the children knows then what to expect from day to day. It also can give you as a parent or a caregiver some relief, especially if you are someone that has to work from home and is trying to schedule, your time that you're working from home, and scheduling your own day with your child's day can be really helpful. Or if you are leaving your home and have someone else caring for your child, you kind of know what is going on in your home with your child as well. So overall, it can just really make this time a lot more manageable, both for you, your child, and your whole family in general, and it can reduce some of the anxiety around what's going on as well. So there's a few things I want you to be mindful of before kind of getting started. So the first thing is your child's age. And the reason for this is depending on how old your child or children are, they may have different attention spans. So a 5-year-old may not have as long of an attention span as like a teenager would. So being mindful of that when you're scheduling things for them. Also think about how many children you have in your home. Do you have multiple children, multiple caregivers? So maybe this is going to look more like a family schedule. Or is it something you need to do more specific for one child? So thinking about that. Another important piece is not to expect this schedule routine to look exactly like it will during your children's typical academic day. When they go to school, they're in a different environment. They have trained teachers and trained educators. So at home, that's going to look a little different because most of us are not trained teachers or educators, and the environment's different. So while it's okay to include some academics for sure, it may not look the same as when they go to school, and that's perfectly okay. And more importantly, probably the most important part is be flexible with this. Yes, the idea of a schedule is to provide some sort of structure, but it can be flexible, and it may need to be flexible. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So how to get started with this? So I think first off, sitting down as the caregiver or as the parent of the child, if there's multiple caregivers or parents, sitting down and just figuring out what you want this to look like, what your time of the day looks like, what kind of activities you want to include, sitting down and doing that as caregivers first. And then you'll review it with children once it's ready. And just generally doing what's going to work for you and your family. Again, this time there's a lot of unknown and it's constantly changing. So it may need to change, as certain things do. And that's okay too, but just doing what's best for you and your situation. When you're thinking of kind of a schedule or routine, try to incorporate some different activities, kind of a mix. So this could include physical activity, maybe outside and inside. There's a lot of great resources online for physical activities inside for kids. You can include some academics if that's something you're interested in too. Again, there's resources online for a range of ages for that as well. Some leisure time for your kids, screen time like on TV or an iPad if that's something that occupies your kids and you need some time to do work on your own. That's okay too. Maybe some quiet time for your kids, reading or just sitting down by themselves. Also thinking about incorporating your typical routine. So this is like meal times, your breakfast, lunch, and dinners, your morning routines, your bedtime routines. Again, incorporating some of these things that your children may already be used to can just make this so much easier of a process and go much smoother. Also, maybe consider adding some new activities. So this could be doing like a family puzzle or, working on a family recipe together. This will bring a little bit of excitement to it and will keep the kids engaged and excited for their day-to-day then. Another really important part, which I talk to a lot about families, is trying to make this schedule visual in some way as you're reviewing it with your kid. And this could also be an activity you do with your kid then. So whether it's drawing out the schedule or making a poster out of it, they can color the different activities or put drawings next to them. Maybe as you're going through your day and you're completing the activities, they could put stickers or draw stars next to them, something to keep them engaged and have it interactive, and it keeps them more excited and willing to follow through with the schedule. And that's really useful for younger kids especially. Next thing is kind of reviewing this regularly with your kid or with your whole family. Maybe in the morning, just having a family time to review, what is our day going to look like today? So that's important. And the last piece, which ties into the idea about being flexible, these schedules do not have to be time blocked. They don't have to be, hour by hour, having the whole entire day planned. They could just be a general list of activities if that's what's going to work for you. They definitely can be flexible. And this may make it more useful or more likely that children will learn to follow it, or if they have some control over what the schedule looks like. However, if you have a kid that needs structure, that's okay too, and you can provide more specific times if that is what's best. On that note also, if you have a child that has a hard time with transitions, think about using timers. So this could be a timer on your phone or on some electronic, or if you have an actual timer, that's okay too. Setting that up so they know how much longer they're expected to be doing that activity and when they're expected to switch to the next one. Again, just being mindful if that's something that your child struggles with, or that would be helpful for your children. And the last piece is be reasonable and be kind to yourself. As I mentioned before, this is constantly changing. There's a lot of unknown, and you may be experiencing some anxiety as well as your children. So be reasonable. If you try out a certain schedule routine doesn't work, that's okay. You can try something new. Or you can change it if you need to change it. That's okay. Just be kind to yourself as the caregiver or parent. You're kind of managing a lot as well. So overall, I hope these tips were helpful for you, and feel free to look at our other videos on our YouTube page as well. Have a nice day. Bye.